So apparently Twitch is having a hard time getting rid of those who call for violence and death. So Destiny called Hasan the N-word on Twitter. I was shocked when I saw it. I don't know why he would use tactical N-words on Hasan, but to be honest, I wasn't too bothered by it. Yes, I am a black man. Yes, I am black. Yes, I am a man who happens to be black. I honestly don't care. I really don't care. One white man calls another white man the N-word. Honestly, I there's only so many stress. Like, you know the what do they call them? The S cells in Dragon Ball. I don't have enough stress cells to worry about every little thing a white person. I don't have time for this, okay? But a streamer by the name of Sean the Black called for Destiny to be killed because Destiny called Hasan Piker the N-word on Twitter. So we're gonna watch this. We're going to see, we're going to listen to the insight and the wisdom that this individual has to give us today. We're going to hear what he has to say.
Just goes out and just says the N-word, which is not a surprise because he said the N-word on stream with his own face. Can somebody just, like, it would just be so easy to just, it would save, like, solve all of our problems. Like, we would have socialism now at this point, right? We would have socialism at this point. If someone just went out of their way and it would be so easy. This is what happens when you don't kill every single slave owner after slavery. They have children, and their children have children, and their children have children, and then their children have accidents that should have ended up on a sock, and it becomes destiny. That's what you get. That's what you get. When you don't murder every single slave owner, every single Ku Klux Klan member, and they have children, and those children have accidents that should have been aborted, you get destiny.
So this individual here by the name of Sean the Black is saying that if we had just killed the slave masters and their children. Wait, hold on. Let me not put words in his mouth. Did he say kill the slave masters only, not their kids?
And their children have children, and a single slave owner after slavery. They have children. This is what happens when you don't kill every single slave owner after slavery. They have children, and their children have children, and their children have children, and then their children have accidents that should have ended up on a sock, and it becomes destiny. That's what you get. That's what you get. When you don't murder every single slave owner, every single Ku Klux Klan member, and they have children, and those children have accidents that should have been aborted, you get destiny.
Okay, so he's saying that if we had just killed every single slave master, the racism problem would be solved, I guess, or the N-word problem would be solved. The only problem is, even here in America, the majority of the people involved in the Ku Klux Klan and in the Confederate Army were not slave owners. A significant portion of the southern white population supported slavery and the oppression of blacks, despite the majority of them owning no slaves. These people didn't even own slaves, and they still hated black people. So, where do you draw the line at who we kill? Because as far as we know, Destiny is not descended from slave owners. As far as we can tell, I don't know. He might be. But then again, most black Americans are descended from slave owners. Who's dying here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who's dying here? Who exactly is, like, whose head goes on the chopping block? Because as far as I can tell, this is white on white violence. And I don't have the time or the energy to concern myself with these things. I really don't care. Like, this is Destiny and Hasan going back and forth. These are Hasan logs from Discord. Apparently Destiny says this got me on his obsession calendar with JDAM guided precision WTF. He's making fun of Hasan's Discord logs. He calls Hasan the N-word. I really don't care. And then Sean the Black saying that we'd have socialism by now if we killed every slave master. I don't know if that's how that works. Like, okay, we kill every slave master. Racism still exists. White people calling one another the N-word still exists. What do you do now? What do you what do you specifically do now? Like, I'm trying to understand. Now, Sean the Black doubles down and says that you should be allowed to call for violence against Destiny because he calls for violence against Palestinians, calls for violence against BLM protesters. This guy is a little bit off his rocker, I'm not gonna lie.
There's a couple of different camps. Of discourse here. There's people saying, one, that I should be banned from Twitch because I was calling for violence against Destiny, by saying somebody should murder Destiny or whatever. Which my response to that is, tell me the words I said.
Notice the body language in him. Tell me the words I said. That's the body language of a man who called for someone's death. That is the body language of someone who knows they're guilty. And the response of, tell me what I said. Like, gee, you wouldn't have had to censor yourself if you said some shit that wouldn't have gotten you banned from Twitch.
Find the uncensored clip and tell me the words that I said, and then I would concede to that. But here's the thing. You can't. Because there is no uncensored clip. Because I made the clip myself. Time again, it's a curse. True.
Well, the only problem here is this. G, you censored yourself when you spoke about what should happen to Destiny specifically. But then you go on to say, this is what happens when you don't murder every slave master and Ku Klux Klan member. Look, I'm not a fan of the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm definitely not a fan of slave owners. But here in the United States, we have this thing called the First Amendment that allows you to join reprehensible organizations such as the Ku Klux Klan. Now, in my perfect world, there would never be a Ku Klux Klan. People wouldn't be racist. People wouldn't be assholes. People wouldn't be white supremacists. Unfortunately, we live in a world full of racists, full of white supremacists, full of black and brown all types of racist people. We live in a world of really, really bad people. And we also live in a world in which we have given all people, both bad and good, the freedom of speech and association. So I can only come to the conclusion that when you censored yourself, G, you were more than likely referring to the murder of Destiny. This is what happens when you don't murder every single slave master and Ku Klux Klan member. I can only imagine that what you censored was more than likely you calling for the death of Destiny himself. And you understood that if you had been on clip saying that uncensored, something could happen to your Twitch account. Just own up to what you said. Saying, what did I say uncensored? That's basically you saying, I said it, but you can't prove it. You're not making it better for yourself or Twitch. Just deny, just say I didn't say anything about killing Destiny. But don't say it in a way that sounds like you did, but don't want to admit to doing it. Because it's basically, and not only that, but I've watched this clip already. You're about to basically self-snitch in the end.
And second of all, as I said yesterday, and as I will say again today, you can call for as much violence as Destiny calls for violence against Palestinians towards Destiny. You can call for up to the line of the amount of violence that Destiny calls for BLM protesters to Destiny. So even though in my clip, I didn't call for any violence against Destiny, you should totally be allowed to call it violence against Destiny up to and including what he says about black people and what he says about Palestinians and what he says about Muslims in general.
Okay, so basically you called for violence against Destiny because you're saying, well, even if I hadn't said it, I still should be able to, I still should be allowed to, even though I didn't say it. Why are you doing this? Like, you could just completely just say, hey, look, I didn't say any of that. I just, but instead you're just self-snitching. Why even go down this path? Number one, when has Destiny ever called for violence against Palestinians? So Israel's not allowed to carry out military operations in response to October 7th because that's violence against all Palestinians. Okay, this is what we're dealing with politically on Twitch right now. Insanity. Apparently he called for violence against BLM protesters. What, because he thought Rittenhouse was innocent? There's literal video evidence of Rittenhouse being innocent. What more do you want? Like, what do y'all actually want here? Do you want a functioning... Do you want nations to be able to defend themselves in times of war? Do you want an individual to be able to defend themselves at a protest? When is this? He also says Destiny's call for violence against black people. When? When is this ever, like, it's insane how people interpret this stuff the way they want to interpret it. Destiny's calling for violence against Palestinians. That's not true at all. But God forbid you actually analyze what he says in the context in which he says it. I'm not here to carry water for Destiny, but I'm definitely not going to sit here and act like it's appropriate for a creator on Twitch to call for the death of another creator on the internet, regardless of whether Destiny's banned on Twitch or not. It's inappropriate for this individual to engage in that kind of behavior, and it also goes to show the kind of audience and community Hasan has built around himself, to where people who orbit you, people who think like you, are calling for this kind of behavior. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. We should be able to call for violence against Destiny up to the point that, so let me guess, you should be able to call for violence against government officials if they support Israel's right to defend itself. Maybe you could call for violence against the judge that deemed Rittenhouse innocent. How far do you want to go with this? Do you see the chaos here? Hasan needs to understand what he's doing, and he needs to stop it while he's still ahead. Please. Because honest to God, Hasan, you gotta realize that the audience and the community you're building, y'all are becoming just as insufferable as far right wingers, and it's insane. It's insane.
About women in general.
When has Destiny ever called for violence against women?
About violence against your favorite streamer or whatever. This is what Twitch is allowing. When your favorite streamer, literally 2 weeks ago, would come out and call for violence against other streamers in the platform.
When did that ever happen? When did this man ever call for violence against other streamers? I know I'm not always on point with the drama, but I don't think I would have missed that. Twitch needs to get it together. They really do. Because if they don't stop themselves, they're going to end up becoming a home for some crazy shit. Twitch, get it together, because as this Israel-Palestine stuff is going on and all this chaos continues and your creators on your platform are spewing this kind of rhetoric and calling for this level of violence, it's going to backfire. Get professional and wake up. Because this is the kind of stuff y'all got going on your platform. So apparently Sean DeBlack went off on Destiny to talk about slave. I'm like, why is he talking about slave owners and shit? Come to find out, apparently Destiny's family's from Cuba. His mom's from Cuba. And apparently his family used to work on a plantation. His family owned a plantation. So we're going to watch this here, because apparently Hasan thinks that because a family of people owned a plantation at one point, that must mean they owned slaves. So, this is the laziness of Twitch politics. I expect better from Hasan. I really do. He's too successful to be this abysmal in his performance, but we're going to watch this.
According to Destiny's mother, his family owned slaves in their plantation. Those are not my words. That's Destiny's mother on stream saying that. I don't know if it's real. It came across like a joke to me, I'll be honest with you, because why was she so callous when talking about her slaves, but her family slaves? But yeah.
Somebody wants to know which part of Cuba we came from.
My grandfather's sugar plantation.
Yeah, with the
I know where we lived in Cuba you would have enjoyed, because we lived, at least the last period of time that I remember, we lived on my grandfather's sugarcane plantation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going out with us. I don't know if it's called a sickle.
Clearly, Destiny's mom has some black in her, which is pretty normal for Cubans. Cubans have a pretty good amount of black in them. I'm not saying that means Destiny's family didn't own slaves, but it's about to be really apparent that they more than likely didn't.
Something or other that you went, and I left there at 5 years in plantation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going out with us. I don't know if it's called a sickle, something or other that you went, and I left there at 5 years in one day, so that had to be when I was 4.
Is that seriously your claim that they had slaves? That she used the word plantation? You know you can have a plantation without slaves? Well, why does she do this whipping motion? Like, I thought she was just joking.
Okay, so Destiny's mom said she had a sickle. Let's look up sickle. Okay. So a sickle, this is ironic because Hasan's a socialist, and I'm pretty sure like they utilize a sickle in a lot of their insignias. A sickle, bagging hook, reaping hook, or grass hook is a single-handed agricultural tool, designed with variously curved blades and typically used for harvesting or reaping grain crops or cutting succulent forage, chiefly for feeding livestock. So, in the use of a sickle, you probably would... She didn't say a whip. She didn't say she was beating slaves. She said she had a sickle and whipped it. Which, if you're trying to cut sugarcane, I would imagine with a sickle, you're gonna have to... Rather, Hasan doesn't realize that, like, not every single plantation had slaves on it. There were plenty of plantations that did not own slaves. Like, just because you... Like, I know the word plantation and slave feel synonymous, especially in America, which is 100% understandable, because I'm almost willing to bet a majority of plantations in America probably did own slaves. It's like, does Hasan not know, like in Cuba, slavery ended in the 1860s. Let me make sure I'm right. In 1886, Cuba, okay, so I was wrong. Apparently they stopped the slave trade in 1867, but the institution of slavery itself was not abolished on the island until 1886. Cuba stopped officially participating in the slave trade in 1867, but the institution of slavery was not abolished on the island until 1886. Okay, so I'm going to imagine Destiny's mom is not older than the year of 1886. There's no reason why Hasan should have fumbled on something like this. There just isn't. Like, I know Destiny and Hasan don't like each other, but like, Hasan, really? Aren't y'all supposed to be like experts on Cuba? Aren't y'all all like socialists and shit? How did y'all fuck this up? Like, I don't understand, like, and let's just say Destiny's family did own slaves. What's that supposed to mean? Does that make him a bad person? Like, how many Southern white Americans are you guys going to punish for being descendants of slave owners? Black Americans are also descendants of slave owners. Does it count? How does this work? Are we going to hold people accountable for the actions of their ancestors? How many generations removed from a slave owner should you be? Like, what if you still own the plant? Like, how does this work? The insanity coming from the far left needs to be curbed. Because I swear to God, once Republicans crash and burn thanks to Trump, the new battle will be classical liberals versus far left authoritarians. I promise you. People like Hasan, who love China and Russia, people like Sean DeBlack, who are in support of socialism and all this foolishness. These people are the new enemies. I'm telling you, they are the new enemy. Now, as it pertains to Destiny using the N-word, frankly, I don't think he should. He stands to gain nothing from it. If he calls white people the N-word, I don't care. I don't have the energy for this. I will have the energy if he calls a black person the N-word. I try to afford everyone the respect that I demand, so I try not to call other races of people slurs and disrespectful terms because I know I wouldn't want it directed toward me. But I don't see why Sean DeBlack is over here risking his career because Destiny called Hasan the N-word. Like, it's so unnecessary.
You're making it... Now you're making me think that she wasn't joking. Why did she say I went out with the whip and did the whipping motion? Was that also...
Hasan, she said sickle.
Was she just...
Hasan, please.
She said she went out with a sickle? Oh, she was cutting crops in the sugar plantation? Oh, got it. It was just one of those plantations devoid of slaves. Got it. Okay.
Yes. You know what? I'm gonna actually be charitable to Hasan Piker. Hasan is from Turkey, and he's like, I know he's lived in the United States probably a pretty good amount of his life, but the dude is from Turkey. I don't think he understands that in the Caribbean there was a litany of plantations and in the States that did not own slaves. It's possible. It happens. Like, it's it's just a part of Caribbean and American history. There've been many plantations where there were no slaves. And historically speaking, slavery was outlawed in 1886. Destiny's mom couldn't be anything older than like the 40s or some shit. When was he born? The 80s? So what, was she born like in the 50s or something, or 60s or some shit? Yeah, like at the end of the day, by the time Destiny's mom was cutting crops in Cuba, slavery would have been over for like multiple decades. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled from watching Destiny for so long, but like, Hasan could have just Googled it. When did slavery end in Cuba? What is a sickle? Were there plantations that didn't own slaves? These are all Googleable things. Like, maybe it is being spoiled by watching Destiny for so long that I expect every political streamer to just look up little pieces of information. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think Hasan's going to change. I don't think he's going to stop. I don't think he's going to turn away. And I don't think the people around him will stop either. At some point, Twitch is going to take a significant hit from these people. And these are the new crazies. Once Trump and his goons and them are defeated, I'm telling you, this is what's next. This is the next problem.